Welcome to Key Conversations, where you get to connect with the best of the music business, unlocking the secrets to exploding your music career, presented by In the Key of Success. I'm your host, Cheryl B. Engelhardt. The conversations you're about to hear are between our special guest and participants of my MX4 course, the Marketing and Branding, Money-Making, Mentorship Mastermind for Musicians. They are singers, songwriters, composers, producers, and artists just like you, asking their burning questions of our experts while transforming their careers over 6 weeks. If you think this could be you, check out mx4course.com to schedule a free half-hour coaching call with me to see if we'd be a good fit. So, let's get started. All right, today I am so excited to be talking to my long-ish time friend. Longish?
Yeah, it's been a good 5-6 years. Yeah.
it's coming on to like 4 years now that we've known each other. But Jamie is a fantastic songwriter, singer-songwriter. He has just released his newest record, which is on the top 20 for country, on the top 20 Billboard. Do I have that right?
Yep.
Which is kind of amazing because it's the only record by an indie artist on the top 20.
Yeah, pretty crazy, right?
Super awesome, super crazy, and huge congratulations to you. All-American Mutt.
That's right. That's what it's called.
So we're going to talk to Jamie today. You can find Jamie online everywhere. He's jamiekent.com, JAMIEKENT.
Yep.
And Facebook is Jamie Kent Music and Instagram, Jamie S. Kent. So check him out, follow along, and I'm so excited to have you. So thank you so much for being here.
Thanks so much for having me, Cheryl. It's great to be here.
So I'm going to kick it off with a question that I have for you, and then we'll pass it around to the MX4 musicians that are in this course because they've looked you up and Googled you and
all right.
Too. So I just want to hear, what are 3 or so highlights when you look back now and you're like, wow, those things were milestones that got me to where I am. What are those moments for you?
I would say the Billboard charting is a big one. I'll say getting named one of the top 25 country songs of the year by Rolling Stone was a big one. Cause I'm also I don't have a manager. I don't have a booking agent, don't have a publicist. So all that was just done through my own hustling, and every other person on that list has a major label deal. And so it's just kind of, it's one of those reality checks where you're like, okay, cool. I'm doing the right thing. Because sometimes when you're just doing it by yourself, you're like, maybe like no one else likes it, but then you get those, occasional things of affirmation. You're like, okay, this fuels the tank for a while. And I would say another one is probably, having Huey Lewis volunteer to play on my latest record as well, which was pretty cool. That kind of came, like, the evolution of that was a really cool process and a good lesson in just how to act as a musician and a business person in the industry. And it started, we got, offered one opening show 2 years ago in New Jersey with Huey Lewis, and him and his manager saw the show, saw our set, really dug it, offered us a few more dates that summer. And then that turned into being on the whole tour last summer and just becoming close. And, you can get really far in the business by just not being an asshole and being conscious of other people's needs and being low maintenance and on and off. And we just became friends. And then they heard we were recording, and he's like, I'd love to be involved. So, he's an incredible harmonica player. So I'm like, let's have you play harmonica. And then his band heard the track in the horn section. We're like, well, we think we can play the horns better than the horns that are on there. And we're like, all right, you're right. Let's do it. So that was kind of a cool moment as another independent artist to have someone that I, grew up loving, want to be a part of something I'm doing. It's pretty cool.
That's amazing. Really awesome. And I love that, you like being low maintenance and not being an ass.
Yeah. There's just so many people that want to play music and that want to do this. It's one of those industries that it's a passion for people, and people are willing to do it for free. So there's always somebody waiting in line behind you. So you have to work harder than everybody else, and you have to be nice. And that's like 2 of my main things. Work hard, be nice to people.
Yeah, I got that. Awesome. That was nice and concise. I love it. And pretty clear. Those sound like killer milestones that a lot of us can go for. That's awesome. So I'm going to start going around in a circle here, and we'll just do one question at a time, and we'll see how many people we get through, how many rounds we get through, and we'll just see what happens.
Sounds good.
So Jamie has not been prepped with any of these questions, so this is flying by the seat of his pants.
Let's do it.
All right, let's start with Ken. So make sure to unmute yourself. And what's your question for Jamie?
Okay, unmuted.
Hey, Ken.
Hey,
good
man.
to meet you, man.
I was wondering, Jamie, what do you think was the most, significant or important step that you took in beginning to break out and starting to gain media and industry attention? If there's one thing that you can say, that really was,
Yeah, totally. Well, I would say, like in the beginning of my career, I did just some crazy things to gain media attention. And it worked, but then I realized it was media attention kind of for the wrong reasons. It was attention for the crazy things I did that was like, oh, and he's also a musician. And so then I kind of made a conscious decision after I moved to Nashville that I needed to just write the best music I possibly could. And that in the end of the day, great music will speak for itself as well. And that's kind of what I found like recently, how I've been able to get the Rolling Stone stuff, the Huffington Post stuff. That's been because the music speaks, for itself. And I did, publicity stunts can always work as well, but I was able to craft a story around the Billboard thing being the only independent artist on there. And that has definitely helped with some certain things. But if the music's not there, then no one's ever going to cover it either. So that's like always the foundation. And my first couple of records, I wrote more for live shows and not for lasting long period of time. And now I made that shift like 2 records ago to really just being all about the song first. And then it's about crafting a story. Like otherwise I'm just another white guy with an acoustic guitar, and there's a lot of them out there. So you do have to have some sort of unique story. That's also partly why I've never entered any of those vocal TV show contests, is because otherwise my story I don't have like a crazy, like grew up in a village somewhere or was a professional athlete turned musician. I don't have something that's that's inherently crazy that they can just market. And most of those TV shows are the story until you get to the final 8 or whatever. So my story still is pretty interesting, but the music has to be there first. And that's kind of carried it.
Awesome. Yeah, totally love that. Like it is the music, it is the passion.
Yeah.
And doing more of what works and less of what doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, and I guess there's one thing that sort of happened, but I'd be lying if I said it was intentional, but like the single title and the album title, All American Mutt, I have become way more politically relevant.
Yes.
Now than I met, like when we wrote the song, none of this was going on. And now that has helped as well to gain attention, because it's a song about healing now that everyone's getting pulled apart by politics and government. And it's hopefully something that can help bring people back together. But I didn't imagine that it was going to be that case, when I wrote it 1.5 years, 2 years ago.
Yeah. Which is awesome. I mean, just the title alone, you sort of get it. And
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really cool. All right, let's go to Isaac. You got a question for Jamie?
Yeah. Hey, Jamie, how's it going?
Hey, man, how you doing?
Doing well. My question's about how you have created and really managed the collective, as you call it, and how willing people are to offer money in exchange for being able to contribute to your tracks and your writing process and the way your show is, the way your show works. So. Yeah,
absolutely. So when I first created the collective, this was 6 years ago, and all of the crowdsourcing platforms basically didn't exist at that point. There was one other person that had done it, a woman named Jill Sobiel. She had done a crowdsourced thing, and I created the collective, and I had done a research project on cooperatives, and I was just trying to figure out how to apply the idea of a cooperative to the music industry. But a cooperative technically is a nonprofit and has to follow like 10 legal rules in order to work. So a collective is looser, and you can make your own rules that way. And I was able to do that. I have a back end platform on my website that people, once you're part of the collective, you get the login to that. And that's where you vote. That's where I post exclusive tracks and videos and things like that. And that's kind of how I've been able to manage that. And then I'll send out an email blast, once every couple of months to the collective to let them know there's some new stuff up there or a new question that I need their help with. And they've picked all of my album artwork for the 3 records that I've done. And it's been really interesting too, because most of the time they pick something that I wouldn't have gone with myself. Or I give them 4 options and I'm happy with all 4 options, but I'm like, oh, option A is like definitely the thing that everyone's going to pick. And then everyone picks option B. I'm like, well, that's why I asked, because, sometimes I don't know what everyone wants, and I would say that how I've been able to keep it relevant and keep it growing, these platforms that exist now, they have programmers and a team of people that are making them awesome, and like the Kickstarters and the GoFundMes and the Pledge Music, and now there's something called Patreon, which I think is really awesome as well. So all those things are great, and so I've sort of decided as I grow the collective to incorporate those things, but so like none of them, except for Patreon, none of them have long-lasting communities. And I always thought that was sort of where they were missing out. Like you do Kickstarter campaign, it's for one project. And then all those people get their stuff, and then you're just sort of, the connection's broken. So how I've been able to grow it is by doing a Kickstarter campaign, doing a pre-order campaign, and offering everyone that either at any level that they want, there's all these perks, but every single level also gets a partnership in the collective, so that you're going to be in it with me forever. And it's a one-time fee. Like the subscription models are great, but for me, I was like, I want people to just be involved forever. And if I do another one-time thing for an album or for a project, then that's their way. If they want to re-up and continue to support me, they can. And I found that, probably half the people each time do.
Cool. Yeah, that's really awesome. You sort of created your own Patreon for long-term connection, long-term content creation, which is the point of Patreon now. I think and it was started by a band because they were looking for just that. Like, wait, I'm not just doing one album. I have a whole career in front of me.
Right. And it's great. I think that's like, I got a couple of friends doing it, and, I have my own, if I didn't have the collective already, I would probably jump on Patreon, but I have my own thing already built, so I don't really need to, but Patreon's badass.
Yeah. No, it sounds like you're badass.
Oh, come on.
All right, let's go to Carolyn.
All right.
My little Brady Bunch circle here, and the way I'm seeing the faces.
Hi, Jamie.
Hey, Carolyn.
I was wondering, did you always want to be a singer-songwriter? And if so, who did you hear or see that made you know, man, that's what I want to do?
Yeah, well, I always knew that I wanted to be an entertainer. That's kind of where I've always started. I got started with this all stuff in musicals, and I did musical theater for a while. And then I picked up a guitar and started writing and started bands and did that. But I'm an only child, so I've always probably just liked being the center of attention, realistically. But that's why entertaining is a big thing for me. And then the kind of the show that really brought the two together, showed me what you could do as both a musician and an entertainer, was Bruce Springsteen. And I saw him at Fenway Park, and it was just like one of those life-changing, like, whoa, okay, this is how you craft a show. This is how you entertain people for 4 straight hours. I had read, I think at the same time, an article, and I think it was Rick Rubin that wrote it, but it was right around the same time. And it was like, when you have a show, don't think of it in terms of how many songs you're going to play, but think of it in terms of how many moments you're going to create. Because that's what people remember. Is the moment, whether it's something that they sing along with, whether it's a guitar solo, whether it's a story, craft a show based around moments. And that's kind of what Bruce Springsteen does as well. And that's kind of been a big foundation of me doing that. And yeah, I always knew since, an early age that I had to be doing something like this. In what form it's kind of evolved as I've done it. And yeah, I did some practical things along the way. I went to business school for college, but I went to there over music school knowing that I wanted to be able to manage my own career. Wow. So it was always with one end goal in mind, with just some different roads to get there.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Super cool. I love all of that. Mm-hmm. All right, let's go to Mr. Lou here.
All right.
I didn't even touch my mute and it came off. Jamie, good to meet you. Thank you for taking the time.
No, absolutely.
Cool. And congratulations on All American Mutt.
Thanks, man.
How can you say? I caught your roadside concert for Look Up.
Yeah.
I thought it was awesome. How can anybody stop on the side of the road and do a YouTube and do such, make it so alive? What was your motivation? That's my question. What was your motivation to do that? Well,
my motivation is that, like, we tour a lot, but there's often a lot of people that don't get to see the shows. If we're doing a West Coast tour, which we were on there, there's a whole slew of people on the East Coast that aren't going to get to see a show for another 4 to 6 months. And I think in the end of the day, regardless of where the industry goes in terms of streaming or album sales, whatever, I think that how independent musicians are able to support themselves is sort of by selling the connection to yourself. And that's what the collective is. And that's kind of the mentality that I've always had. And so that's kind of what those roadside pop-up shows that we do, or live streams, video, and we always do them live too. And so that people can get a surprise, they can see where we're at, they can feel like they're there with us on the road, even though they probably don't want to be shoved in an Econoline van, sleeping in Motel 6s. This is a little, snippet of where we're at. So, and some people were like, oh, well, don't you want to, you want them to wait to a concert, but usually if you're just playing a couple of songs, it makes them want to go see a concert even more too. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Makes a lot of sense. We will be back with Jamie next week, so make sure to stay tuned. Please don't forget to rate and comment on iTunes and Stitcher Radio if you like this podcast. It's the best way to keep it going, get more subscribers, and continue to share this awesome information with the indie music community. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. All of the music on this podcast was provided by yours truly. The theme song is called Inevitably, and it was written with Cameron Ernst and produced by Joey Auck. If you're interested to find out more about my own composing and songwriting projects, go to cbemusic.com. If you're a musician looking to really get some results that you're psyched about in your music career, then head to inthekeyofsuccess.com, where I've created a bunch of different kinds of resources just for you. Key Conversations is sponsored in part by Bandzoogle. They make it easy to build a beautiful website for your music. Their step-by-step system gets you online in minutes, and you can choose from hundreds of mobile-friendly themes and customize them with their easy point-and-click editor. All the features you could possibly imagine for a professional website are built in. So, because you are a Key Conversations podcast listener, you get a special 3-month free trial just for you. Go to www.inthekeyofsuccess.com/resources and click on the Bandzoogle logo to access your free extended trial.